Rome was shaken. The mighty Julius Caesar had just fallen, stabbed by men he once called friends. Senators stood with daggers dripping in blood, shouting that they had saved the Republic.
Caesar is dead! Caesar is dead! Rome is finally free!
But little did they know. Caesar's true heir was already waiting. Not in the Senate, not in the armies, but in the shadows, an 18-year-old boy. His name was Octavian. The assassins thought they had restored freedom. The Senate thought they were in control. Mark Antony thought he would inherit Caesar's power, but all of them were wrong. Octavian would outsmart them all, and in just a few years, he would become Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. This is the story of how one young man outplayed generals, senators, and even the Roman Republic itself. The death of Caesar and the rise of Octavian. Julius Caesar, dictator of Rome, was murdered in 44 BCE. His killers, Brutus, Cassius, and more than 60 senators, claimed they had struck for freedom, but chaos followed. Rome was on fire with fear and rage. The people mourned Caesar. The soldiers waited to see who would lead them. Enter Octavian. Octavian was Caesar's great-nephew, barely 18 years old, sickly, and with no military experience. No one took him seriously. He was supposed to be a footnote in history. But Caesar's will changed everything. In his will, Julius Caesar left a surprise. He adopted his great-nephew, Gaius Octavius, as his son and heir. Overnight, this unknown teenager became the legal son of Julius Caesar. He immediately took Caesar's powerful name, Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus, and Octavian used it brilliantly. Now every soldier, every citizen heard the name Caesar again. The boy no one noticed suddenly carried the weight of Rome's most powerful legacy. And with that name came ambition. Two, outsmarting the Senate, 44 to 43 BCE. The Senate feared Mark Antony, Caesar's right-hand man.
The Senate has killed Caesar, our master. They will pay for this. Caesar!
Caesar!
Antony commanded legions and was older, stronger, and ruthless. Compared to him, Octavian looked harmless. So Cicero and the Senate made a mistake. They tried to use Octavian as a pawn against Antony. They gave him a command, they gave him soldiers, and Octavian smiled. He let them think he was their obedient tool. But secretly, he was building loyalty with the troops. He was building a name for himself. And then he turned on them. In 43 BCE, Octavian shocked everyone by marching his army on Rome. An 18-year-old boy forced the Senate to give him the consulship, the highest office in the Republic. The Senate thought they were using Octavian. But Octavian was already using them, and once he had what he wanted, he no longer needed them. The second triumvirate, friends with enemies. Octavian now had to face Antony directly, but he knew he wasn't strong enough yet. So what did he do? He turned an enemy into an ally. Octavian, Antony, and another man, Lepidus, formed the second triumvirate. This was no friendship. This was cold strategy. Together, they shared absolute power over Rome. And together they carried out the proscriptions, a list of enemies condemned to death.
The proscriptions are necessary. Their wealth funds our war. And their deaths make us monsters. Please, we must be united.
Senators, nobles, even Cicero, once Octavian's ally, was hunted down and killed. Octavian didn't blink. He knew Rome was built on fear, and he would use that fear to grow stronger. When the time came, he would even turn on his allies. But for now, he played along, because patience was Octavian's greatest weapon. Outsmarting Sextus Pompey, 39 to 36 BCE. The triumvirate faced another threat. Sextus Pompey, son of Pompey the Great. Sextus controlled Sicily and Rome's grain supply. With the seas under his command, he could starve Rome. Octavian tried peace. It failed. Battles were fought and lost. But then Octavian made his smartest move yet. He appointed his childhood friend Marcus Agrippa to lead the war. Agrippa was a genius of the seas. He built new harbors, new ships, and even new weapons. At the Battle of Naulochus in 36 BCE, Agrippa crushed Sextus Pompey. Octavian knew his limits. He was not a great general, but he was a master of delegation. By trusting Agrippa, he outsmarted Sextus Pompey and saved Rome's food supply. Once again, Octavian didn't need to be the strongest. He just needed to put the right man in the right place. Outsmarting Mark Antony, 3330 BCE. Now only one rival remained, Mark Antony. Antony was Caesar's greatest general. He commanded legions in the east and had allied himself with Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt. Antony was stronger. Antony was more experienced. Antony was dangerous. But Octavian had something Antony lacked: propaganda. He launched a campaign of words and symbols. He stole Antony's will and read it aloud in the Senate. It promised Roman lands to Cleopatra and their children. He painted Antony as a traitor, a drunken fool, a slave to an Egyptian queen. He told the people that Antony wanted to make Rome a subject of Egypt, that Antony would move the capital from Rome to Alexandria. And Octavian made himself the hero of Rome, the defender of tradition, the protector of Roman values. When war finally came, it was not against Antony, but against Cleopatra. Octavian had outsmarted even the idea of civil war. At the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, Agrippa once again commanded the fleet. Antony and Cleopatra fled, their forces collapsing. Within a year, both were dead. Rome was now Octavian's, and the boy who once looked powerless had defeated the greatest general of his age without ever leading an army himself. Outsmarting the Republic, 27 BCE and beyond.
My fellow Romans, today we honor the legacy of Caesar and forge a new destiny for Rome. Your loyalty fuels our strength.
But Octavian's greatest trick was yet to come. Julius Caesar had been assassinated for being too obvious. He called himself dictator. He wanted to be king. The Senate killed him for it. Octavian learned from this in 27 BCE in front of the Senate. Octavian shocked everyone. He gave up his powers. He claimed to restore the Republic. The Senate was stunned. Exhausted by years of war, they begged him to stay. So in a carefully staged act, Octavian accepted, but only certain powers. Powers that seemed harmless, powers that seemed traditional. He became princeps, the first citizen, not a king. He was given tribunician power, which made him untouchable. He was given imperium, supreme command of the armies. The Senate kept its titles. The consuls kept their offices. The Republic seemed alive. But the truth was clear. Octavian controlled everything. By pretending to give up power, he had gained absolute power. By calling himself first citizen, he had become Rome's first emperor. The Senate rewarded him with a new name, Augustus. The boy who had once been dismissed as weak had outsmarted not just his rivals, but the entire system of Rome itself. The master of strategy, how he did it. How did Octavian succeed where so many others failed? He was not the bravest. He was not the strongest. He was not even the best general. But he had patience. He waited until the right moment to strike. He had propaganda. He controlled the story people believed. He had allies. He trusted Agrippa, the friend who never lost a battle. And above all, he had subtlety. He gave Rome the illusion of the Republic, while quietly building an empire. Rome thought it had seen everything: dictators, assassins, civil wars, but it had never seen a man like Octavian. From a sickly teenager in Caesar's shadow, he became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. He outplayed the Senate. He outplayed Antony. He outplayed the Republic itself. And in the end, he ruled not with the title of king, but with something far greater: the loyalty of an empire. Octavian had won not just by the sword, but by outsmarting the entire Roman world. True power is not taken by force. It is taken by strategy,